Okie dokie. We should be live any second now. Hello, guys. We got 17 people waiting already. 18 now. Welcome in. Trickle in. Feel free to use the live chat. We're going to answer questions early and often. We're going to be keeping an eye on the live chat the whole time. Super chats, of course, appreciated, but no need. We'll get to your live chat as well. Really appreciate y'all joining us here today. We got a great Sunday streaming Sundays is what we call this, right? And we got a great show. The markets are looking not good, to be honest. Bitcoin's falling, Ethereum's falling, everything's falling. And Elon is having more arguments that even newer than what Adrian, Mario, and I looked at a few days ago when we were preparing this live stream. Like, he was just hating on Bitcoin like a few hours ago. And maybe we'll get to that during that portion. But first topic of today is Vitalik versus the doggy coins. Those freaking doggy coins, right? I bought some. Maybe a little bit ashamed to admit it, but I bought some just for fun. Elon Musk flip-flops on us, and I am feeling very uneasy about where this topic is going. Topic number 2, the Elon topic. This is going to be huge. And then the third rug puller of the week was potentially CZ from Binance. Is he in trouble? Is that going to cause bigger problems for the Bitcoin and crypto space? And the last special thing that I found as well, I wanted to add in here, was maybe it was all Tether after all. Instead of Vitalik, Elon, or CZ. So let's go to... Okay.
So more Tether FUD.
Potentially, yeah. We thought it was over, right? But potentially. Okay, let me switch my screen over.
You are just a conspiracy theorist, Kevin.
Okie dokie. So here we go. These are the meme coins. And okay, so they're down a lot right now, but if you look at their like earlier, let's look at the charts. This is Shiba. Like, it rocketed to out of nowhere. And no, that's just 2. Let's do like 1 month. And let's move this over a little bit so you guys can see it. Okay. A little bit hard to see right here. There we go. Let me just move this over a little bit more. Okay, so it fell quite a bit, and we're going to get into why. But wait, let me just... Okay, there we go. We can see the whole thing. Sorry for that. I had to make it a little bit smaller. But look at that massive pump, right? And it wasn't just Shiba. It was all of the doggy coins, like Akita, Poodle, what other ones, right? This was... It fell down in the past week, but a week ago... What day is today? Today is the 16th. So a week ago, it was at the peak, right? Look at that massive pump from like point, how many is that? Like 5 zeros to, yeah, it did like a 30x gain in like a couple weeks, and even more from earlier.
He also got rid of Doge Elon. It goes by Elon. Also,
oh yeah, Doge Elon Mars, Hoge, Monacoin, Cumrocket Crypto, and all these dog coins, right? Akita, Hokkaido, Kishu Inu, all those Inu coins, Elongate. So those are rocketing, and one thing that really surprised me was that all the exchanges were rushing to add this. I don't know how I feel about this because, like, obviously these are meme coins and there's so many out there, right? And big exchanges rushing to add it. Sure, they get a lot of profits, but it also kind of, I feel like their legitimacy is hit a little bit. It's like they don't care about the health of the ecosystem. They're just wanting profits at at all costs. Like Binance added them.
Or even their own reputation, right?
Yes.
From a long-term perspective.
This is what CZ said. Some have voiced concerns about the SHIB listing. We follow users. There's a large number of users demanding it to the point where we ran out of ETH deposit addresses due to SHIB today. Never happened before for any other ERC20 coin. Not endorsing it, super high risk, not financial advice. So Binance added it. Also, Crypto.com added it. You see what I mean? Like, so many big exchanges were rushing in to cash grab to get revenue, trading fees. And here
and
is
then too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, keep going, Kevin. Sorry about that. No, go ahead.
So here was a big, even if you didn't buy doggy coins, look at the gas fees. This is historical. This was a week ago, okay? Tuesday, May 11th. This is not right now. It's come down. But look, to do a Uniswap trade, almost $200 or more. And so that kind of forces us to hodl, right? It's like, okay, we may want to trade, but it just doesn't make economic sense. Like I wanted to, if you want to buy a doggy coin for like a few $100s, you really can't do that. It's costing twice as much just to do that. And if you have profits that you want to take, you have to discount these fees too.
Like I have $100 profit. Let's spend $188 to cash in my profit, right?
Yeah, now it's a little bit better. Still not great. It was down more yesterday. But let me pause here for a sec. What were you going to say, Mario?
No, I was just going to add to the point with on Vitalik Buterin, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a dump or any shell, compared that, we'll get to Elon, he put all of that money towards the, relief efforts that are going on in India right now.
Right.
Which is a super, really, really good cause that he went up to and it got disguised that way. And of course, now you have both sides, right? You have all these investors and everybody that was, pumping up all these coins, people that were, really getting good positions on them. And then all of a sudden, I mean, like you see, you get, close to $2 billion, just floated just like that, which is going to bring up to another point, could that be different than what, Elon necessarily did, kind of weird, I like to give Vitalik some credit too, you know what I mean? He did it to a region that really needs a lot of help at this time.
Yeah.
And as we know, the crypto community is about that, right? Giving back.
Yeah, definitely. And that is a great point. If you go to this next one, okay? This kind of explains what Vitalik did with his funds. And we're going to get into why those teams sent him funds in the first place. And you guys might get a laugh out of that. But real quick. Wait, what was the one? No, it wasn't that one. Was it this one? Ah, right here. Sorry. Wrong one. It's dang. Okay. I need to stretch this a bit. TechCrunch is not liking. All right. Ethereum creator donates meme coins worth $1 billion to help India fight COVID-19. So he donated cryptocurrencies worth $1.5 billion to several nonprofit organizations, including a COVID-19 relief fund in India. And he transferred 500 ETH and over 50 trillion SHIB worth 1.14 million. The transaction prompted a panic, contributing to a 35% drop, and his value continues to fluctuate. Yeah, so it dropped even more since then. The causes Buterin is supporting are no joke, but the meme's volatility may result in less liquid money for the relief fund. And yeah, I think a lot of people were like thinking this was great. $54 million donation to GiveWell here. Thank you, Vitalik Buterin. Epic crypto donation spree, right? All Akita tokens to Gitcoin. Around 13,000 to GiveWell. 1,000 ETH plus all Elon tokens to Methuselah. 1,000 plus to Miri, AI safety org, 500 plus 10% of SHEEP to Crypto Relief, 500 to Charter Cities Institute. So yeah,
I mean, Kevin, when you think about it, so when you think about it, right, would this be probably the biggest show of philanthropy in the history of the crypto space?
given that it's worth like $1 billion plus, probably.
Is or was worth $1 billion.
Was at the time. Was at the time, yeah. Yeah, that's a great...
No, but he actually only transferred funds that were in his wallet, right? He didn't sell anything. This is the part where it's not really clear to me.
I think he did sell some, and that's a great question that we're going to show in a bit, because I have a great Twitter thread that kind of breaks down his Uniswap transactions and what exactly went on. But the big question that a lot of people may have in mind is like, why was this a thing in the first place? Like, why was he able to do this, right? And this is really interesting. I'm going to show you one of these Dogecoin's websites, and they have this section, okay? Why send Vitalik 60%? And I'm going to read straight from this. This is very illuminating. Some may ask, why do you send so much of the supply to Vitalik? The reason is that Ethereum's reputation is tied to Vitalik. He's the creator. Vitalik dumping on everyone's head would irreparably damage Ethereum as we know it. Burning 60% of the supply allows for a greater blah, blah, blah. Less ability for anyone to rug pull other than Vitalik. Every fortress has its vulnerability, and this is ours. So that is hilarious, because they expected Vitalik to not rug pull by sending it to him. But he rug pulled on them, essentially. He rug pulled on the Dogecoins. They're like, oh, it's such a brilliant and cute and funny idea to send it to Vitalik Buterin's wallet. He's not going to move it. But no, he moved it. And I would argue that the community response was positive, all things considered, rather than negative. Yeah, Mario?
And to their point, what he did happen. So since he, dumped, that coin, yes, Ethereum's price did drop along as well. So they were proven correct as well.
Yeah, but I don't think it necessarily can be traced specifically to the dumping of Dogecoins.
Yes.
Here's another one.
On the other hand, it's like, at some way, blackmailing Vitalik, forcing him into some sort of position, and he's like, no, I'm not going to participate in that. So by doing this, he is going to discourage anyone else trying to do the same thing, right?
Yeah, people aren't sending him coins anymore. People have already forked. They've already forked Doggy projects and said, we're not sending it to Vitalik.
Exactly.
And I'm sure people aren't going to be sending 60% also to Papa Elon as well.
I don't think they even know his wallet address, but yeah, I think you're right. So here's the thing, though. What's funny is that Vitalik owned more money in these Doggy coins at the peak than he did in Ether. That is crazy, right? Because he owned about like $1 billion worth of Ether, but they sent him like billions, like 8 billion plus worth of Doggy coins. Isn't that insane? So look, here it is. Buterin's ETH holdings crossed the 1 billion mark. It's now worth 1.3 billion. But some of the other tokens in his wallet are valued at 8-fold of that. Shiba Inu is now worth a staggering $8.4 billion, and his other tokens are worth a lot too. Let's see. So yeah, they sent him hundreds of... See, this was another one, okay? We checked the Shiba Inu and found some 100% liquidity is stored in Vitalik Buterin's wallet. This is going to be important later, guys, so pay attention here. 100% liquidity stored in VB's wallet. 50% of the supply is stored in VB's wallet. To be clear, Vitalik can rug you. Will he do it? Certainly not. There's no incentive for him to tarnish his reputation for 200 ETH. And this was only on January 30th. So this was way before like the 100x gains.
Because they might not even expect it to go that high.
Yeah,
perhaps.
Exactly. And here is a great thread that kind of shown everything that was happening, showed all the transactions. He dumped Akita. He did a Uniswap transaction on Akita for ETH and then sent to Coinbase. Money from Akita sales to new, it's an open blockchain, right? You can track everything. He's preparing to dump Shiba, and there's a lot of stuff, but he removed the liquidity. He removed the liquidity from the Shiba pool in this transaction. So all those liquidity provider tokens that they sent him, he rug pulled, essentially.
Oof.
And these were the transactions. That was so funny. Yeah, and
Very, very. Oh.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, very smart on Vitalik. You know, he was able to, like, just to that, to Adrian's point, right? Get that pressure off, right? To move on that. To have the responsibility of holding so much, right? He's like, all right, I'm gonna offload this, and then at the same time, oh, they're worried about my reputation. Well, here you go. I'm gonna go ahead and donate it. You know, it was like with what Chamath did with his GME position, right? You know, all the money that he made, oh, it's gonna go to the Barstool Fund for the businesses.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Profiteering out of this.
I remember that. Yeah. Okay, so this is another one about his donation, right? Donated a lot of money to charity. The tokens were given to him with a vague assumption he wouldn't sell them. That is the perfect way to put it. Vitalik was probably just sitting there in his laptop for like several hours, just like offloading, like spending the time to do this. Can you imagine? He's like, okay, give me your wallets, guys. I need to like divvy it up and do all these transactions and so forth. And so, yeah, he gave a lot of, we already kind of covered this, but he gave a lot of tokens to a lot of different places. One thing that's really interesting, though, is not everyone is happy, okay? Some of the people who really loved Sheeb, Akita, all those doggy coins, has declared a war on rugs against Vitalik Buterin. And so they created a token that dumps ETH for Binance Coin. Their goal is to collapse the market for ETH.
Okay.
So here's the tweet, okay? Vitalik rug pulled Sheeb. Let's rug pull Ethereum. Include introducing rug Ethereum on Binance Smart Chain, a token that dumps ETH for BNB. That's kind of funny. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, and I don't think ETH is dumping because of this necessarily, but yeah.
This is similar to what they did with GME and like Melbourne Capital, right? They're our enemy. Let's get them. And then I forgot some other investor that you were talking about in the last week's stream, Kevin, where he was going after Doge, right? And he shorted Doge, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go after him. You know, let's ape it. Let's pump it up. You know, to get back at him." This is the same thing with Vitalik. You know what I mean? Thing like, oh, if you get into this coin, it's gonna trash him. Let's get him. Let's go. So it's just like a imitation of what we've been seeing the whole year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some of these have like so much volume, though. I think it's gonna be hard to do so. But yeah, it's funny that they want to try, right? So one thing I want to look at is, oh wow, okay.
So Dave Douglas is saying, good thing there wasn't a Beagle coin. I'd have some.
Oh, really?
And Rob Eastside says buy crypto with utility or get crushed.
Yeah, it's hard though. It's hard to do that sometimes. Let me.
Z Ali says thinks that the bear market has started. Well, I think that's a little too early to jump to those conclusions. Rob Eastside also says all these pump and dump coins plus whales plus hyped social media.
Yeah. So before we get into the best topic of the stream today, which is Elon's flip flop and what we think, I just want to give a quick shout out to our longtime sponsors for this channel, Atani. I'm using this tool. You're looking at it right now. It connects to like all the biggest exchanges like Binance, Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, Bittrex, whatever. I'm using it. It's like a one-stop trading terminal. And kind of I hid my balances. I have some random coins there. But this is ETH USD that we're looking at. And look at the dump. This is real time, guys. Look at the dump going on. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And if you look at the fear and greed indicator, it shows extreme fear right now. So what does that mean? Maybe we should be buying the dip right now. If you have any dry powder, now might be a good time. What do you think?
Exactly, because the fear and greed indicator is like the contrarian indicator, which means when there's fear, you should be greedy, and when there's greed, you should be fearful, right?
Yeah, I would use a little bit of dry powder right now. I mean, obviously dollar cost average, we do that, but if you do have some balance, people have balances waiting in the wings for like buy the dip opportunity. Not financial advice, but personally, I think I will use a little bit of my dry powder like now, when it's at such a favorable price. Do we think bear market has started? I highly doubt it, based on on-chain metrics, on-chain analytics, and things like that. But I can see why people are fearful right now. And by the way, before I forget, for Atani, this tool I'm using and showing on the screen, it is completely free to use because they're backed by VCs. They're based in Europe, actually, so somewhat close to Adrian here. And free to use. Use my link down below in the description. I believe I left it there. But let's go to the next topic, guys. Elon.
And before we go to that topic, there is a live chat that would very finely introduce the topic.
Okay.
And because...
Which one is it?
The Guillermo01 says, what is going on with Elon Musk? Is this the guy that will lead the future of a multiplanetary species? Then we are so effed.
Dude, that's what we're going to talk about. Like, Elon went from being everyone's favorite person, and now a lot of people turned on him in his comments. It's crazy. It's really crazy. But kind of showing you how it started, okay? Right here. It all started here, May 12th. And then it's been dumping ever since then. He basically said, here, let me just read this. Okay, it might be hard to read because of this. Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. I'll summarize for y'all. They're concerned about the fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining, and crypto is a good idea, but it can't come at great cost to the environment. Tesla won't be selling any Bitcoin, or will they? But anyways, we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining more sustainable energy. Okay, it started there. And people, as you can imagine, was really arguing with him, like Michael Saylor, Pomp, everyone was arguing with him. And then he shares this graph of energy trend. And then he says, it's high time there was a carbon tax. And look at the top comments, right? Dude, what is going on with you lately? What about a lithium tax? You got some nerve. Just a lot of of, are you being held in a black site is what someone is saying. Okay, and then he says, to be clear, I strongly believe in crypto, but it can't drive a massive increase in fossil fuel. And then he says, working with Doge devs to improve system transaction efficiency, potentially promising. It's a lot of random stuff going on here. And, okay. Here is a good...
Okay, yes.
Let me move this over here. Here is a good article Pomp wrote about what happened to Bitcoin's price when Elon tweeted. This is a little bit old, but look at this huge drop. Boom. Wow. It's called the Elon dump, folks. What, like from
Yes, absolutely.
like almost $10,000 in price by one man. And people were saying, does Elon have too much power over the markets? Is his question.
I like that juicy info down there. Look at that. Elon's
Yeah.
tweet, the price dump. Look, it says that there may be somebody with insider info.
Yeah, because they said that stuff was moving into exchanges before the tweet dropped. It might be a coincidence, right? But I don't know. I feel like Elon is a shoot from the hip type of guy. But anyways, Pomp is doing a lot of data analysis here. And let's see. Is this the same one? Okay, here's a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but someone tweeted, curious timing for Elon's greenwash tweets as Reuters reports that Tesla is trying to get into the green credit market. Tesla seeks entry into U.S. renewable fuel credit market. And so I don't know what they're saying, like they're trying to get on the good side of regulators in order to enter this market.
Yes, because what a good argument that I heard from this is this tweet was more sort of virtue signaling, because obviously Tesla is being heavily subsidized by the government and has a lot of backing from environmentalists, because that's the whole deal with Tesla's company, obviously.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of environmentalists critical about the so-called energy waste of Bitcoin. So it's like he's doing some virtue signaling and like, okay, we're not going to accept payments for Bitcoin in Bitcoin, which is obviously how much Bitcoin would even be spent on buying Teslas. So
Yeah,
like,
not that much. But
it's not, doesn't really change anything at all.
But then Elon starts going off the rails a little bit because he loves Dogecoin, but Dogecoin's also proof of work. It's just that there's not as much hash power securing the network, right? So if Dogecoin got more miners per se, then it would still be bad for the environment. But then look at this. This is a tweet by Vinny Lingham, CEO of Civic. But Elon says, ideally, Doge speeds up block times 10x, increase block size 10x, and drops fees 100x. Then it wins hands down. And then Vinny says, so basically, Elon is saying that Bitcoin just needs bigger blocks, zero confirmation to compete with Doge. I'm getting deja vu. It's like he wasn't around when we were already debating this with like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, and whatnot. It's like he wants to. It's like he wants to reinvent what we already hashed through in the community. And where is that? Someone was like, why don't you just create your own crypto? And he's like, nah, too much hassle. And people are like, you can do that in like 5 minutes. Right?
Oh yeah. And I do agree with many things that Elon Musk said, and that reply to Michael Saylor, he really did address a lot of issues with the mining. So a lot of people focused on like the electricity consumption, but he really did give, 3 articles that highlighted, many issues with BTC production. As far as many countries are reviving zombie coal mines that were never put to use, right? And the governments are incentivizing mining companies to go ahead and use those resources for Bitcoin mining. So it is reviving old mechanisms that weren't existing, that are creating like a new carbon impact. That definitely does need to address. So I do definitely agree with Elon on that. He wasn't necessarily wrong about BTC.
Yeah, I think in terms of the here, let me pull up. So there's a lot of different arguments against his initial tweet, and some of them says like, okay, it uses energy, but it's worth it. Other people say that it incentivizes clean energy, and there's a really good white paper by Square Crypto, Jack Dorsey's company, that kind of argues that point that Bitcoin is incentivizing renewable sources of energy. And then some other people say,
or being more efficient with energy use.
yeah,
The innovation to be more efficient with energy use, because miners are obviously incentivized to use the energy as efficiently as possible, because it's a cost, the most important cost to their company. That's one of the major arguments being made.
and then the third one is I also see some arguments saying like other things use way more dirty energy, so this isn't a fair attack, is what they're saying. But let me see if I can find some.
And then also many countries are also subsidizing that usage as well, right? So for example, going back to those empty coal mines or coal factories that were just there stagnant, right? Just collecting dust. A lot of that is also being funded by those countries as well. I think I said, Kevin, those articles to notice that as well. So you have an incentive to be energy efficient, but then also there's incentives to like, hey, we have this inefficient energy that got shut down many years ago. We can give you an incentive to bring it back, right? To create sort of that industry. So we have two kind of going at it at this point.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a deeper debate worth having, and we want to make a video on this, really dig into all the different points and see what to make of it, since it looks like there's a lot of detailed points from all different angles, for or against. And so for now, I just want to look at some of the this is his initial post about his statement that Tesla is going to stop taking Bitcoin, and I want to see some of the responses. Like, okay, this one says current annual CO2 emission. This, you can't really see it because of it's full screen, but this one is not Bitcoin, and then a tiny sliver on this one is Bitcoin. That's and then Elon and Vitalik are rug boys. Dogecoin. Pomp says, Elon, you realize that 75% miners use renewable energy, right? And then let's see. Jameson Lop says, it's a feature, not a bug. Educate yourself. Okay, let's see. Oh,
And I saw some people pointing out to Elon's rocket company that he shouldn't be so hypocritical.
And this
You
is
remember seeing that tweet? I don't. I think it was Safedin Amos that made like a pretty spicy comment about that. Like
yeah, I
you're
remember
shooting
seeing
rockets
it.
into the atmosphere.
I don't have it with me right now, but this is TradingView, and look at Elon's impact. This tweet was right here, and look at this massive dump right afterwards.
And at what chart are we looking at now?
BTC USD on Bitstamp.
Oh, BTC USD.
And
okay.
this tweet is Elon's tweet right here, caused that massive dump all by itself. People are saying he has too much power over the markets. Now,
Yeah,
Adrian,
and
does
I
this
think,
prove that
I mean, he's
whales are not
wielding
our
that
friends?
power. He's wielding that power a lot lately.
he is
and,
wielding, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like something similar to like China bans Bitcoin, right? That was like for 5 times it affected the market, but as more often as Elon does this, the less impact it will have on the market eventually. So maybe it's a good thing he's now like sort of impacting the market, but that effect will eventually go away the more time he tries to do this. It's like, oh, there's Elon talking again, and it's not going to really affect the prices anymore.
There's also a lot of other altcoins that are shilling themselves. Like Tezos, like use us, and then some other one use us. Privacy coins that I don't even know why that. Yeah, Michael Saylor said, ironic because no incremental energy is used in a transaction. It's used to secure the network, and the net impact on fossil fuel consumption over time will be negative, all things considered. But anyways, really easy, really interesting to dig into. And a lot of people are mad at him now. Like the crypto space really turned on Elon. I think everyone used to love him because he loved Bitcoin, he loved Dogecoin, everything. And now people are calling him a clown for criticizing Bitcoin first and then saying that he's working with Doge developers to improve their system, potentially promising.
He could pull another rug pull even on Doge there, you know. I mean, if he says he's working with the devs, right? And everybody's like pumping, all right, so I'm just going to come with Doge. And then later he can flip it at the end, you know what, to work with Doge. I found many problems. It's not going to, you know what I mean? And that's just going to lead to, I think it's going to lead to another disappointment for the Doge community if they keep relying on Elon.
Oh, for sure. If Doge's value proposition is only Elon's pumping, if he ever switches, it's like RIP.
Exactly. That's not the decentralization idealism, for at least.
Yeah, and this is one that Adrian shared with me earlier this week, that Elon Musk has lost a lot of value in his, maybe he rug pulled himself, right? Because Tesla has been dropping and 15%. And this is all since, it's been downhill since his SNL segment for Doge, for Tesla, for Bitcoin. Man, Elon, he shouldn't have gone on SNL.
$20 billion, right?
Or more now, but yeah, that was quite funny.
Actually, a great quote from Tone Vase. I wrote it down because it poetically describes the situation for Elon. He said, here's the problem Elon Musk has. When Elon Musk tweets incorrect facts about Bitcoin, and then he uses incorrect facts to come to incorrect conclusions, regardless of the facts, it doesn't make him look smart. When your CEO makes himself look stupid, not joking SNL, but when your CEO publicly makes himself look stupid, it reflects poorly on his leadership and the company, because Elon Musk was factually wrong about Bitcoin damaging the environment, relatively speaking, compared to other things that even Tesla does to wreck the environment. And then even if Elon's facts were accurate about Bitcoin's energy usage, he still came to the wrong conclusions as to how much good Bitcoin could do opposed to the environmental dangers that Bitcoin could create. So the combination of those two things makes Elon look dumb, and therefore people will lose confidence in his leadership of Tesla and SpaceX if he's going to continue to make dumb statements, and that's where he has a little bit of a problem. I found it a very, very accurate description of the situation.
So, yeah, and Elon is, I'm a little bit worried because Elon is getting really mad at Bitcoin now. We may forever lose him as a proponent. Check this out. Okay, this is the one I was talking to you all about that just happened like today. Is today 16th? Yeah, this just happened. Okay, let me share. So Peter McCormick, Bitcoin podcaster, says, Dear Elon Musk, the perfect troll is where people don't know whether it's a troll or not. Your recently poorly informed criticism of Bitcoin and support for Doge may be the perfect troll, or you might actually believe this. God, I hope not. And he wrote a long thread about the reasons why. But down here is Elon's reaction. Check this out. Right here. Obnoxious threats like this makes me want to go all in on Doge.
Oy.
You see this? So
I would
he is
not
starting
be happy
to,
as a Tesla shareholder, to be honest.
but he may become. I'm worried that Bitcoiners are going to make him an enemy, and we don't need enemies from. We need him to maybe just chill and not hate, not love necessarily, but if
I'm
he
all for that, actually.
if he starts to hate Bitcoin, I don't think that's going to help.
I think we
For
need
sure it
that
does.
because, like Adrian's mentioning, right, the more he does it, the more less impactful he becomes. I think this just shows that whales aren't our friends. You know, before, you know, we were, right, the BTC community was like, as there's more adoption, right, what if Apple adds Bitcoin to their balance sheet, or all these companies, right? I
Right.
think this shows the vulnerability. Let's say more companies in the S&P 500, right, adopt a big position in Bitcoin. This shows that not everything can be lovey-dovey, right? What if these companies, right, they notice altogether that they have a large portion of BTC, you know, and they can cause a lot of market manipulation, and thus, you know, could this maybe undo what the white paper, right? The purpose was to have something that's an alternative to fiat currency, right? That's being spent with no input from the community at all. You know, and is this like a chink in the armor? And, you know, those are just my thoughts. You know, I don't think the whales are our friends, you know, and this shows it. So the earlier we know this, you know, the better.
Yeah, I mean, whales are going to do what they do. You're right. I mean, the more mature this ecosystem gets, the less impact they'll have. But this just shows still how it's so young and easily manipulatable by anyone and everyone, essentially. So, real quick, let me go back. I want to go to this Binance one, right? This was our third topic of the day. And Adrian, do you have anything in the live chat you want to touch on first?
It's like a lot. So maybe we'll just go through it at the end of the show.
Okay, sounds good. Keep leaving your live chats, guys. We'll go through all of it at the end of the show. But right now, let's move on to topic number 3, which is Binance, right? This is another news that potentially caused a big dump. Like this week was, this week was a lot of bad news, right? Started with Vitalik, then Elon, then CZ, and now even more. But here, let me show you guys. So this is an article from Bitcoin.com. Binance faces Department of Justice probe as investigators target crypto money laundering and tax evasion. So they're probed by the DOJ, which will be making inquiries to people with knowledge and the inner working of the company stealthily. It's going to be bolstered by Chainalysis, which states that more than 700 million of illicit funds have gone through the exchange. Not surprised at all. Binance is like the perfect place to like wash trade and money launder for criminals, in my opinion, because they're so lax with their regulations. The IRS is also involved in a probe. CZ has repeatedly stated his company doesn't have headquarters because Bitcoin doesn't have headquarters. Bitcoin fell 10% after this news. And then Binance's spokeswoman, Jessica Jung, said, quote, "We take our legal obligations very seriously and engage with regulators and law enforcement in a collaborative fashion. We have worked hard to build a robust compliance program that incorporates AML principles and tools used by financial institutions to detect and address suspicious activity." And the CFTC is also probing Binance to see. Remember, the CFTC was the one who got BitMEX in trouble, right? Arthur Hayes and his co-founders, they got like arrested pretty much. So the question is, are they going to do that to CZ? And I've always said that I think CZ cannot step foot in the United States or any like similar Western country because he'd get arrested for like financial crimes, essentially. Maybe not directly, but like enabling financial crimes. And
So is this about, just to be clear, because obviously we have like the separate entity of Binance US and we have like Binance International per se, Uh, or is it about everything Binance?
I'm pretty sure it's about Binance regular, Binance.com, not Binance.us, because US came a lot later, and they have really strict KYC policies, really strict. So I think and per my understanding, they're also not directly tied to Binance. It's like a little bit weird of a corporate structure, but they're like indirect kind of licensing the software and technology from Binance. So Binance gets a cut of stuff, but they don't necessarily own that entity. It's like co-branding,
Exactly.
co-licensing type of deal. And
Exactly.
CZ, of course, said that it was FUD, but this guy Whale, a Twitter person, says CZ saying something is FUD has historically meant it's 100% true, which I thought was really funny.
So we should assume that this FUD is also going to be true.
Maybe. And like the rumors have been for a long time now that CZ, he obviously is not in China. If I don't know if you guys heard, like Jack Ma got in trouble in China and then he had to go like disappear for a bit. But if CZ stepped foot in China, he would be freaking snatched up in a second, for sure. Because Chinese exchanges like Huobi, OKX, they have to like suck up to the regulators. They have to like what they call bend the knee per se and do things per the will of the Chinese government regulators. But CZ was like, oh, we're decentralized, no headquarters, no nothing. A lot of their team are Chinese, obviously, but everything is done in a decentralized manner. So they're a little bit harder to touch, of course. And I don't think CZ, he's a billionaire, okay? And doesn't it suck to be a billionaire and not be able to step foot in your own country and in the United States? Like, he can't even really enjoy flaunting his wealth in like a legit Western country or like his own home country either.
Similar as the BitMEX CEO actually has. They're also billionaires, right? They have the same problem.
Well, BitMEX CEO was in Hong Kong and pretty sure he was enjoying life there. But CZ, they always said...
he couldn't go to many other places as well. He also had to like sort of hide from regulators, right?
Yeah, but they said CZ took it a step further. Like he was living out of from hotel to hotel and like changing places, not having a real address. Some people say that they're in Malta, but I'm not sure like where CZ, the guy, spends most of his time. That's quite...
But Binance is definitely going through more traditional FUD, right? That we've seen many years in the crypto space, right? Whenever certain governments, step in, very different than what BTC has been going through lately. So it's very refreshing. We get some normalcy now for change.
Yeah, and so special topic. Time for special topic about Tether. I just saw this a couple days ago. And be sure to leave your chats in the live stream right after this one. We're going to get through a lot of them, okay? So really appreciate y'all joining us, by the way. If you don't like, smashing that like button real quick, that would help us out immensely. And also subscribing if you want to catch these. We'll try to do these every single weekend. Streaming Sundays is what we call it, right? Same time, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Don't know what time it is in Europe right now, but yeah. Okay, so here it is. Let me screen share. This is from Caitlin
Between
Long.
10 and 11.
And she is one of the key figures who made Wyoming one of the most Bitcoin and blockchain friendly states in the USA. One of the key figures here. So I really respect her analysis and think it's sound. Not only that, it's also just good analysis. So she says that this news about Tether matters more than Elon Musk or Binance or Vitalik news. And basically, Tether finally had to disclose how it invests its reserves, and it was a big negative surprise
Right.
for her. And basically, if you look at this, Tether holds out of 75% of cash equivalents, and other short-term deposits in commercial paper. They hold 65% commercial paper, which is like not pure cash. It's like some sort of financial instrument like bonds and stuff of that nature. So it's not as safe as holding pure cash or treasury bills, which are a really small cut, like 4% cash, 3% treasury bills, and other stuff is like more flimsy, like less secured stuff, right? Like cash and treasury bills, you're very, very, very unlikely going to be messing with your customer deposits if it's in those formats. But the other stuff, no. Other stuff is a lot riskier. And she says, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's that it's not very unusual, although this is for investment funds. If they hold like cash, a cash position, it's usually like oh, I forget the term.
Commercial paper.
Not commercial paper. Money market funds. Is that
Oh,
the
right.
right term?
Yeah, that is a term. I don't know if that's what you're looking for though.
Yeah. That's the term.
Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be very, very bad, and they hold an enormous amount of money. Obviously, at least that's what we hope. And to have all that in cash is also not very practical. So there might be arguments for them holding such an amount in commercial papers, but yeah, that's really going to depend on what exactly those commercial papers are. So, and we probably don't know that for sure, because obviously they're not very, very open about these things in their non-existing audits, right?
Okay, so just for those of you who don't have a finance background like Adrian does, commercial paper is an unsecured promissory note with a fixed maturity of rarely more than 270 days. It's a money market security issued by large corporations to obtain funds to meet short-term debt obligations, and is backed only by an issuing bank or company promise to pay the face amount on the maturity date. Since it's not backed by collaterals, only firms with excellent credit ratings will be able to sell their commercial paper at a reasonable price. So I guess Tether is buying people's other big corporations' commercial paper.
Right.
And this is what Caitlin said. She said,
because they're earning some interest probably on that, so.
yeah. She says risk managers at crypto hedge funds almost certainly will require haircuts on Tether, which means traders have to sell crypto to reduce their total risk exposure. For example, if risk managers apply a 5 to 10% haircut for Tether, then the trader must bring down total exposure by selling other non-Tether cryptos. Based on Tether's new disclosure, there is credit risk, essentially. There's now much bigger risk that Tether may break the buck amid a credit market correction. This would probably bring crypto markets lower with it if and when it happens. So Tether's reserve portfolio looks like a credit hedge fund with some interest rate risk, like you said. Your analysis was spot on. Commodities risk thrown in too. Needs lots more disclosure now. So many new questions. This is her take though.
She's absolutely right about that.
The big question is why? Why choose to take so much risk with users' reserves? Tether's reserves clearly has securities access. Doing this was a choice. And de facto credit hedge fund, the business model. I've always been challenged by the business model of stablecoin issuers, the ones that keep the float, and especially the ones that use the float as a hedge fund plaything but reserves are users' money. And okay. Crackdown happens.
They did have a lot of problems with their banking relations. To just keep dollar balances was an enormous task.
Yeah,
for,
that's a good
Tether
point.
with a lot of problems.
She says, though, that some of the fallout will be entirely avoidable had Tether just invested the reserves in T-bills, in treasury notes, in her example. But yeah, that's really quite interesting. I know it's deep analysis, but that might explain a lot of the drops too. And I think that makes a lot of sense too. What do y'all think? Let's get to the live chat. Let's get to the live chat right now. Let me pull that open on my end. And
yeah, if you can read them, that's
okay. Let's see. Oh wow, there's a lot. Thank you everyone for joining us, by the way. Like I said before, would really appreciate a quick like if you don't mind, and subscribe if you haven't already. So let's see. Buy crypto, we already saw that. Bear market, all these pump and dump coins. Rodrigo is excited to witness his first bear market. Well, just be sure not to use too much dry powder all at once. That's what happened to us last time. In 2018, we're like, oh, what a big dip, we're going to buy. Oh, another big dip, we're going to buy. And there was like 50 big dips, and we run out of cash like way soon. Okay, so patience is the name of the game.
Or dollar cost averaging.
Yeah, that's true. Dollar cost averaging. Okay. Any idea, Dave Douglas, how many of the coins he's been sent hasn't been dumped yet? I'm not sure, but there was a statement that said that they're going to like get out of it slower and not just like dump the whole thing to zero all at once. BTC is looking weak right now. I mean, the technicals do not look good, that's for sure. But it's down to 44.
But we have to keep in mind that the whole Elon thing is like a very, very temporary news event. It doesn't really change the whole fundamentals, right?
Yeah, it doesn't change
so we
the
got
fundamentals.
that out of the way. That's not really in the equation anymore. So now we can look at the whole ecosystem moving forward.
Yes, and okay, Tesla car sales tanked 50%. JP says, I'm 30% in profit right now. Would you sell all and wait for the dump? That's a hard question. What do you think, Adrian?
Can you repeat that?
JP Tico says, if I'm 30% in profit right now, would you sell all and wait for the dump? Like
No,
lock
I
in
would
profits
never
and
do
wait?
That's what I personally never would do. But there's like this theory, like if it doubles in price, then you take out your principal investment and then
Play with house
the
money.
rest
Yeah.
running.
Play with house money.
That's like things that you could do, but in 30% profit, okay, you could always like take some profit, but I would be very, very uncomfortable with taking everything out. I mean, you know what can happen overnight in Bitcoin, and then you're gonna feel very, very you're gonna feel very sorry. I would never ever do that. But that's me personal.
Here's an interesting one. Lofi Amston 21 says, I think Bitcoin dumped to pay taxes. Tax day was postponed this year to tomorrow, actually. So maybe that is true, because I know a close friend, not a close friend, but acquaintance in another crypto chat. He was selling some Bitcoin to pay his taxes because he had more tax liability than initially in that he expected. So he had to pay and had to sell some Bitcoin. So maybe that is a clutch.
And we know that U.S. taxes does have some influence.
Correlation. Yeah, exactly.
Correlation in the seasonality of Bitcoin.
Yeah, Lofi, that's a great one. Okay, Elon talk is Elon talk is fake news. Billions of dollars in federal grants being given to companies that pursue renewable energy. Tesla is just trying to get a cut of the grants, plain and simple. he hurt himself to help us. Okay. He said BTC is too expensive for the average investor. This is what someone was saying, that we should look in terms of Satoshis, because you can still buy like several million Satoshis for a few.
Right.
I don't know the exact comparison. I don't have it in front of me, but you can do that for like a few hundred, I believe. In which case, we should change Bitcoin on like CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko to say Satoshis should be the new coin rather than Bitcoin. So we can all be trillion. Go ahead.
Some influencers are in fact predicting that at some point sites like CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko are actually going to do that. That's all actually predicted, that at some point they will move to that way of denominating Bitcoin.
That makes sense, because people were writing on Twitter. They say buy every dog coin that's like less than 0.0001 cents or dollars, $0.0001. And if you do that, one of them might go to 1 cent and make you rich. So if Satoshis, we're like millionaires, billionaires in Satoshis. So
Exactly.
So we should maybe count in that. Everyone's like, oh, we got to get our hands on some Satoshis, right? Let's buy 1,000 Satoshis one day. That's going to be a good way to think about it.
It's going to happen. That's at least what some are predicting, and it does definitely make sense.
Yeah. Some crypto went to Mars. Everything back in the green currently. Interesting. Okay. Bitcoin controlled. It might crash quickly, come back quickly. That'd be awesome. I still need to buy the dip. Okay, Bitcoin, Elon tanking the markets. Let's scroll down a bit.
And remember, Bitcoin has had a streak of like an insane amount of months with green candles, right? There hasn't been any correction. It's the longest streak in Bitcoin's history. So even in a bear market, there actually has to be like a red candle somewhere to have this run to be more sustainable.
Donnie is mad. He said that the DOJ has no power over non-US companies and CZ is Teflon. But if I remember correctly, there was a maybe it wasn't the DOJ, but the SEC who was suing this Russian company for selling their ICO to US residents. Like they were just completely in Russia. And I believe they ended up paying so that, I guess it's the thing, right? They don't have to worry about stepping foot in the US in their lifetimes or something like that. That was a couple years ago, but the point is they have reach across the world, and it's very naive to think that US regulate, not that I like that or think it's fair or want that to happen, but they definitely have wider reach than just the US.
Yeah, that's just reality.
Yeah, unfortunately. Oh, 43K. Wow, Bitcoin keeps on dropping.
And it's still not at the levels that Elon supposedly went into, right? I think it was around the 30s, 35s.
Yeah, so he's still in profit. And he
Yeah.
locked in profit too. He locked in profit like near the top or something, if I remember correct. That's what Dave Portnoy was saying. He was saying Elon just did a huge, massive pump and dump on everyone. Bought at 35, sold at double, and now is dumping. So that's quite funny.
Is he actually selling Bitcoin? He's not really selling, right? He has to disclose it.
Yeah. Well, for his company, not for his personal holding.
But how much does he have personally that it can affect the market, do you think?
Not his Twitter account is the most powerful thing there, not his personal balance. I don't think his net worth is in Tesla and SpaceX stock, maybe a little bit more Doge than Bitcoin. But we're on the top of the hour, guys. We're a little bit over. Like to keep this within an hour. As always, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Had a great time talking about these topics with y'all. And hope you can give us a quick like, subscribe if you haven't. I'm Kevin. We got Adrian. We got Mario here. Have a great rest of your day, Sunday, Monday, whatever day it is over there. And cheers.
Bye-bye.